Good morning, my friends, and happy Monday. So I'm clearly off to work because I'm in scrubs in the car driving. So that's fun. It's not fun, but bills. Happy belated Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. I hope everybody had a wonderful Mother's Day. I took yesterday off from vlogging, did stuff for mom, did stuff for the channel, did a whole bunch of stuff, and now we're right back into it. But what I did do yesterday is I read. And I've been reading a lot. And I've been reading this Michael Pollan book, like How to Change Your Mind. I think that's what it's called. It is him exploring how psychedelics, specifically magic mushrooms and LSD, have come back or are coming back into the medical space and being used to treat things like PTSD, or being researched on their ability to treat things like PTSD, alcohol withdrawal, and depression, anxiety, all that stuff. So it's fascinating. I'm in the part where, like, obviously in his whole like journalistic journey of covering all of this, there's the history of everything and sort of like the science of it, but then there's him actually diving into experiencing a guided cyclaben. I want to call it a trip, but it feels like less medicinal when you call it a trip, but like a guided experience of this. So he's just had one. I don't know how many trips he's gonna do, but like, it's fascinating, and it's definitely like, I can see how in some ways it would work. In other ways it would be mildly terrifying. But then there's another part of my brain that's like, wouldn't that be a much more fun way to treat my depression than Lexapro? But it's just really interesting. I find I think I touched on this a little bit last week, but like, I've been getting very into, just in general, like fungi, and after watching this documentary on Netflix, which if I can find it, I will put it up here too and link it down below if you guys want to watch it. But there's this one guy, and he's in the book, of course, because he's like the mushroom guy, and it's really fascinating all the things that mushrooms can do outside of, like, I don't know, some sort of psychedelic thing. It's really interesting, all the different kinds of things that mushrooms can do. So I find them very fascinating. Yeah, so I've been getting into that. So like, this whole book sort of fits right into that, because it's like this avenue of what mushrooms are capable of, and I'd like to do more. There's this one book that I can't remember the name of, but if I can find it, I will like stick it up on the screen. There's this one book, I think it's like Our Entangled World or something like that, that talks a lot about mushrooms, and I just find them really fascinating, like their communication systems, all the things they can do, the stuff, their applications to science, the way that they fit into the life cycle. They're just very interesting. This is becoming the mushroom vlog. Anyway, so that's it. I'm off to work. I'm going to listen to more of that. Otherwise, this weekend was pretty much reading about shrooms and reading Ocean Vuong's On Earth We're Briefly Beautiful. And that book is, like, it is so hard for me to articulate exactly how I feel about it, because it's just so beautiful. Like, it's a letter to his mom. It talks about the struggles of being an immigrant. It talks about being a Vietnamese woman in Vietnam during the war. It speaks to being queer, opioid epidemic, love, loss, abuse, drugs. Oh, it is so poetic, and it's so beautiful, and it's just absolutely wonderful, and I encourage everybody to just read it. It is so short, and you can just squeeze it in. You can squeeze it right into your month. If you can get it on audio, do, because the author narrates it, and I always love when the author narrates their own work, because I feel like it brings something, like something intangible to the table. So anyway, I'm gonna stop talking, because now this thing's telling me it's gonna die, and I need to focus on work. I need to focus on driving. Later I can focus on work. Right now I have to focus on driving. So I will probably talk to you guys tomorrow when we have 3 days off. And yeah, peace out. Good morning, happy Tuesday. I got coffee and I am dressed for my run, but it's still a little cold this morning. It's only 7:30, and I'm not really in the mood to be like that cold, because I want to do, since it's a nice day. Hammy, don't be mean. Mercy, come here. Okay, he's trying to sleep and you're distracting him. Oh, look, we're dressed alike, Mercy. Look, we're dressed alike. Mercy, look at the camera. Mercy. Mercy. Anywho, okay, so what was I saying? So it's a little cold this morning, but I think it's just getting into the 50s now. It's about 7:30 in the morning, and I think I want to wait a little bit. Maybe I'll go out around 9-ish. I'm hoping that it'll be like higher in the 50s because I've been liking my like run out and walk back on the really nice days, and today is a nice day. It's just a little chilly, but it gets so cold on the way back for me because I'm just walking, I'm not running, and I don't run in like a ton of gear because then I get too hot, and then what do I do with it? Like, where do I put it? I don't know. In the meantime, I figured I would try to finish editing last week's vlog and get that up on the channel. So because we're gonna have a lot of stuff this week. Today I have my unboxing going out on Tuesday. Tomorrow, if I could get, I would love to get the vlog up tomorrow. And then Thursday we are doing the live discussion for Battle Royale, which will have already happened when you watch this vlog. So then like the channel's got a lot of activity this week, which is crazy. I'm gonna get to that, but I wanted to stop and have while I'm having my coffee and talk to you guys about the Michael Pollan book that I just finished. This is How to Change Your Mind: What the New Science of Psychedelics Teaches Us About Consciousness, Dying, Addiction, Depression, and Transcendence. Now, I was reading this yesterday. I finished it on the drive to work, or from work last night. I actually parked at the top of the hill because I had like 8 minutes left to just before I pulled into the house and just finished it, so I could just enjoy it and not have to like stop and finish it after I got inside. This thing is so freaking good. First of all, his writing is always incredibly approachable, engaging, wonderful. He narrates the audiobook, which is really lovely. So again, love when the authors narrate their own audiobooks, and it's fascinating. I knew that there had been a whole bunch of research into like what psychedelics can do, and a lot of what I knew was centered around, you know, what the CIA was doing with like LSD, which was obviously kind of sinister and not really like good work. But I didn't realize there was this whole undercurrent in the like 40s and 50s and 60s that like post-World War II, like science boom. They were doing a lot of research on like what these psychedelics could do in medicine. And there was a lot of promising research that came out of it. And then with the whole counterculture, 60s, yada, yada, backlash, all that funding got yanked out. And it kind of hasn't really been looked at until more recent times. But there is a lot of stuff in here that sounds rather promising. Now, this book's a few years old now, and it's also not uncommon for things in the beginning to seem like they can fix absolutely everything. So there's like this gung-ho feeling when you find a new medication or whatever where you're like, maybe this can cure all the things, and then you have to figure out what they are. In practice, what is the actual practical application of using, say, magic mushrooms as a medicinal plant, as a medicinal regimen? But it's very interesting. It's interesting the discussion of how little we know about how our actual minds and consciousness work. We can map these neural pathways and do all these things and do all these brain imagings, but understanding the mind and how everyone's mind actually works, and like that piece that isn't just the mechanics of it, but like the actual like intangible sort of thought thing that you can't, and feeling and emotion thing that you can't really quantify in what is a purely scientific way, so that you can prove out how something works. You know, if you have this kind of come to Jesus moment, mystical, magical, euphoric moment while you're tripping, and that helps you see the interconnectedness of the world and, you know, life's greatest purpose or whatever it is, and now you are more mentally prepared to accept your terminal illness diagnosis. How do you prove those things out? Like, how do you quantify it, you know, and how do you dose it, and how do you do? So it's very interesting, and it's very interesting how many different types of psychedelics there are, and which ones are being researched and which ones aren't, which ones are illegal and which ones really aren't known about, because there's a couple of things with like vaporizing tree frog venom that is kind of like hazily illegal, because it's like if you don't know it, you can't really make it illegal, you know what I mean? So it's like not on a schedule, but should be on a schedule based on the other things that are on the drug scheduling list. But it was fascinating. But what really, basically it's really interesting, and I would like to know more, because I think as fun as it sounds to treat my depression with going on a magic mushroom trip, that would terrify me. I would never do that. But because I'd be so scared of something bad happening. But I think the idea of having these guided trips where someone is there to keep you safe and to create a setting where you will have a comfortable trip and can negotiate things with you as you're going through. Like when you start having a bad thing, they can redirect you. Because what's interesting is how suggestible you are in these states, and how the thing you can fear, if you're sort of prodded to be like, nope, keep going, look at it again, how that then can morph into something not fearful. And if you have that guide aspect, I guess, is what's really interested to me, is like, can this be used to make psychoanalysis more impactful in certain people? Plus, the research that's being done on addiction, especially with drinking, is really compelling, at least in this one little snippet of information. So I would love to see some more on that. And I was actually talking to a colleague about this book, and she was saying that she has some sort of tangential person to her actually is a recovering alcoholic, and has her most recent attempt at recovery has included some use of I think some sort of psychedelic, probably magic mushrooms, to aid in the recovery, and she's been sober for the longest time out of that. So that's an interesting anecdotal aside that I got yesterday. But it's really, it opened my eyes to just how much research they're doing and is being done currently. And I think it's fascinating, and I'd love to see where this ends up, if it all falls apart like it did in the 60s, or if the world's more open to a more naturalistic means of treating things that are really set in the mind. Not like in the neurology, in the mind, in the way that we're thinking and feeling and all of that. Anyway, but what I didn't like, and I knew it was coming, is that, and you can never escape it, is the capitalism piece of medicine, because all medicine is for profit. He does touch on at the end the idea that, like, if 1 or 2 trips is going to solve most of your problems, like if you're not going to be so depressed that you need to be on any medications like traditional SSRIs, because you've done this 2 or 3 times with the whatever the treatment plan becomes. Say it's 3 trips guided, they're 2-3 hours, whatever they are. It's a lengthy treatment thing, but you do it a couple times. Now you're essentially cured. Maybe you still have to have like monthly things with your therapist, but like, how do you monetize this? Because no drug company is going to want to monetize it, because it's not really lucrative for them. So it just makes me mad, because it's like, it's not about the patients. It's about the profit. It's always about the profit. It's never about the patients. It's never about the people. It's like 1/8 about helping people, and the rest of it is just, how can big pharma, how can government agencies, how can these big like top tier doctors, not your GP, like there's like like the more legislative governing body doctors, like how do they all make their money, right? I don't know. It's that part. I knew it was going to come. But I was hoping that he just wouldn't talk about it and ruin how fascinating this was, with that reminder that anything like this is going to be incredibly difficult to sell, because there's no ability to monetize it currently, like any other kind of big pharma drug can be monetized. So anyway, so that was a really long, it's 12 minutes. That was a really long, probably meandering, crazy, almost probably like the flow of a trip review of this book. But no, it's really interesting. And I still have a few audiobooks here in my Libby, so I'm going to have to pick one of those. I did start reading another one of the books for this book prize, and it's called The Membranes. I'll put it up. I can't remember who writes it. They're a Taiwanese author, and I'm like 3 chapters in. It's very short. I need to get back to it today. I might read a little bit of that today, because it is short. It's one of my 2 physical reads I have to do for it, and it's weird so far, but I'm kind of digging it. It's interesting. It's set in the in like a century from now. So it's set in the 23rd, 2nd century. And I think everyone's underwater because we've destroyed the land. It's one of those books. Land gone. So now we're living underwater. Our main character is a little weird, but also kind of wonderful. And I don't know, it's gonna be interesting. We'll see how I like it at the end. Sometimes weird and wonderful, it can start weird and wonderful, and then you get to the end and you're just like, well, that was weird and wonderful, but I don't really like it. Sometimes you read it weird and wonderful and it blows your mind and you're like, that was amazing. So we'll see where I am. But so I started that, and on my shelf, I still have The Sweetness of Water, Persepolis Rising, and Lolita. So I think I'm going to start Persepolis Rising, which is book 7 in The Expanse, as my audiobook, because that is going to expire the soonest of all 3 of these. So that'll be up next. And then I'm going to have to start tackling the TBR pile that we made for each other, me and Naomi, on our most recent episode of the podcast where we smashed our past on books. And we're going to have to get there. But anyway, I'm going to stop rambling. I have to get to editing and I kind of have to go to the bathroom, and I need some more coffee. But if you like nonfiction and you like sort of medicine and you like psychology and stuff, this book was phenomenal. Please see if it's older. So see if your library has it on audiobook and you can just follow along on audiobook. It's definitely interesting. And Michael Pollan does his own research, just putting his body to the test, and goes on a couple trips too. And this is not a man that ever really did that before. His first ever, where like he's in his 60s and with new onset AFib, and he starts tripping in these guided trips. He does like 3 of them, I think, if I remember correctly. It's interesting. It's very, very, very interesting. So, all right. I'm finally thinking it's warm enough for me to run. In like a few weeks, I'm going to be like trying to get out before it gets too hot. And right now I'm like, please warm up a bit so I'm not freezing. I'm excited because while I was waiting, I finished editing, but also I just happened to be tootling around on the clock app and randomly came across the TikTok for the Greenwich Library System over in Greenwich, Connecticut. And then that got me tootling around on their website because I wanted to see if they had a book barn type thing. Haven't figured that out yet, but I did find, because it's proudly displayed on their front page, that Emily St. John Mandel is going to be talking tomorrow at their like theater. They're doing an author talk and book signing, and I'm going. It's a free event. I get to meet an author. It's like not too far from my house. I have to get out of my house. I'm so excited because this bitch is going with all 3 copies of the books she owns from Emily St. John Mandel. So anywho, excited for that. Now I know like I have to keep an eye on the Greenwich Library, because if they're getting like good authors in for talks and stuff. Also, the library up in Poughkeepsie sometimes has good stuff too, because Amor Towles was supposed to speak there. Didn't end up doing it. I think he had to cancel it because of like another COVID outbreak surge or whatever that happened a little while ago. But I had to keep my eye on some of these larger library systems, because these libraries get some good freaking author talks, and this girl needs to go back to a world where she can see author talks. Anyway, enough procrastinating. Time to go for a run. About halfway through, but I ran past a stake, terrified the shit out of myself. It was up and next to me, just looking at me. Fuck. Hi, how are you? I obviously have put on some makeup after my run. I actually managed, and I'm kind of proud of myself, to film my Shop My Shelves for May. I have not gotten my butt in gear for my April notable reads, but that's okay. That's fine. I have 3 of them. I need to pick another 3. I do need to record, but I really would like to record back in the book nook and not sitting on the floor because it's not helping my very sore legs right now. But every time I go upstairs with the hopes of recording, the child, the little demon child who likes to steal the show sometimes, Mercy starts doing things, and I'll hear like she will find things. She ate the case to my glasses. She started eating a book. I just got this wonderful book from Tor. I was going to show you guys a couple books I got recently. So Tor sent me this book, and I don't know if you can see it, but yeah, right there you can see she decided it was a fun thing to like scratch and play with. She hasn't quite eaten it yet. This is Paul Cornell's Rosebud with the best quote on the cover, which I am stealing from my memoir, is "A scream disguised as a giggle." Peter Watts, you've been warned, I'm stealing your quote. The crew of the Rosebud are currently, and by force of law, a balloon, a goth, and some sort of science aristocrat, possibly a ball of hands and a swarm of insects, when 5 sentient digital beings condemned for more than 300 years to crew a small survey ship by the all-powerful company encounter a mysterious black sphere. Their course of action is clear: obtain the object, inform the company, earn lots of praise. But the ship malfunctions and the crew has no choice but to approach the sphere and survey it themselves. They have no idea that this object and the transcendent truth hidden within will change the fate of all existence, the company, and themselves. So reading Rosebud is like going on an absurdist romp through a sunless meadow with Douglas Adams, and only to realize that you're deep in the forest and old Dougie has just slipped a knife between your ribs. It sounds so good, and thank you Tor.com for sending me this. I love when Tor sends me stuff. This is out now if you guys want to read it. I love Tor. Thank you, Tor. All Tor imprints are welcome on this channel and in this home. We love them. I also got a copy of our June TBR Lowdown book club pick, and I encourage you guys to get this because this book is phenomenal, and I haven't really seen anybody talking about it yet. And well, I don't know if it's phenomenal because I haven't read it, but it sounds phenomenal, and I haven't seen it a lot on the bookish sphere, so let's talk about it now. This is The Women's House of Detention by Hugh Ryan. It's a queer history of a forgotten prison. This singular history of a prison and the queer women and trans people held there is a window into the policing of queerness and radical politics in the 20th century. I mean, this book, I'm going to read you the summary, sounds like, oh, I'm gonna have thoughts and feelings. The Women's House of Detention, a landmark that ushered in the modern era of women's imprisonment, is now largely forgotten. But when it stood in New York City's Greenwich Village from 1929 to 1974, it was a nexus for the tens of thousands of women, transgendered men, and gender nonconforming people who inhabited its crowded cells. Some of them, Angela Davis, Andrea Dworkin, Afni Sakar, were famous, but the vast majority were incarcerated for the crimes of being poor and improperly feminine. Today, approximately 40% of the people in the women's prisons identify as queer. In earlier decades, that percentage was almost certainly higher. Historian Hugh Ryan explores the roots of this crisis and reconstructs the little-known lives of incarcerated New Yorkers, making a uniquely queer case for prison abolition and demonstrating that by queering up the village, the House of D helped define queerness for the rest of America. From the lesbian communities forged through the Women's House of Detention to the turbulent prison riots that presaged Stonewall, and the turbulent prison riots that presaged Stonewall. This is the story of one building and much more. The people it caged, the neighborhood it changed, and the resistance it inspired. I mean, I don't know how I'm not going to start this now. I want to read it so badly, but this just came out today. This is May 10th. So it did arrive today. I pre-ordered this, and I am excited to read it. My copy of my May TBR Lowdown pick did arrive, so I do have a copy of The Maleficent 7. This, if you're not reading this with us, you must. This is a grimdark sort of Seven Samurais retelling. It sounds flipping fantastic, and you have to read it with us. So I'll just give you the quick little like 3 lines on the top. It says, one town, 7 bloodthirsty monsters and their last hope. And I just want you to know what these 7 bloodthirsty monsters are. So you have a dread demonologist by the name of Black Heron, and she brings together all of her old captains, and they are a vampire, a necromancer, an orc chieftain, a war god, a twisted alchemist, and a pirate queen. And it's supposed to be like gruesome. Love it. We are here for gruesome. And there was one other book I picked up, and now, or that arrived, I thought, oh, you're sitting on it. There, you're no longer sitting on it. William Morrow sent me a beautiful copy of these reprints of Agatha Christie. So this is Miss Marple's A Pocket Full of Rye. And I really just love these new covers. I have several of them. Every time they ask us for our choices, if these are in there, I pick them because they're just so beautiful. And one day I'll have a house where I can have a fiction section and a fantasy section and a mystery section. And right now my mystery section is just piled on the floor underneath my fiction section. But anyway, those are the books I just got. I'm going to pack up, and I'm gonna, my space here, and I'm gonna try to get myself set up so I can actually record my notable reads maybe tomorrow upstairs if I can get Miss Thing to behave. This is Miss Thing right now. She's like, she don't care. She doesn't have a care in this goddamn world. She's just in her blankies, having a good time. Mama's home, feet up, don't care. So I'm gonna try to pack up my mic and stuff and get everything back together. And I'm gonna read The Bone Orchard because I want to do that. I'm gonna take a little break from book 7 of The Expanse just so I can finish The Bone Orchard. And then tomorrow, I have 3 days off, basically. I don't know if I said this. So I don't work Tuesday. I'm off Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. But yeah, I have a couple days off, and then I just basically work a whole bunch. I get a little bit of a reprieve, work a little, and then I get to go on vacation. So I'm trying to squeeze in as much filming and all kinds of other things. I'm looking for a book tag or something that I can use as like sort of filler content so that I can get some stuff posted while I'm away on vacation. Time to read. Cool down. And a little Doja Cat. Okay, so we are going home from the running trail. If you saw where I lived, which you're not going to because I don't want stalkers, it's like super duper hilly and I would die. trying to start running again. And I actually just looked at my Garmin app. I was looking at a bunch of my runs recently, and then I realized that the last time I clocked an actual run was back in 2018. It's been 4 years since I've clocked like an actual like run. Obviously I have walks and stuff in there, but things that like I deemed and tagged as a run. This May is the first time, first time since 2018. So like, I'm doing pretty good. I don't know. I'm feeling really good. I only did like the run. I didn't do the run and then the walk back and listen. So we only did like 2 miles today instead of like 4.5 because I have a doctor's appointment this morning in like a few minutes. I have a telehealth visit just to follow up on with my pulmonologist since I made all these changes to like my whole asthmatic routine. I mean, I think they're working because I'm running, so like that's a good sign. I mean, I only occasionally wheeze in the woods. Yes, this mug thing from Unplugged. If you didn't see my Unplugged unboxing, go look at it. This thing's freaking amazing. I love this thing so much. What was I saying? Yeah, so I have a doctor's appointment and then I have to like get myself ready for our special event tonight. Otherwise, I spent the morning reading The Art of Losing. I'm going to do a little bit more of that this morning. I found a Kindle version, so I've been reading it on my iPad just because I feel like that'll give me more flexibility to get through it. We're having a good day. So I'm going to go home. I'm going to make myself a protein shake because I just really want one. Does anybody else ever just really crave like a good protein smoothie, like with strawberries and banana and like all the good stuff? I do. So I want one of those. Let's go home before I crash my car.
Hello.
Hey! So I am mostly dressed and ready. I have to just fix my bangs. I have to heat up my straightener and just because they're kind of going that way. But I'm mostly dressed and ready. It's about 4:30. I'm not going to leave here for another hour or so because the event is a little far away. We're going to see Emily St. John Mandel. She's over at the Greenwich Library, which is maybe it should be about an hour for me. Hopefully it's not longer with traffic because it should be after rush hour or just at the tail end of rush hour. Anyway, we are dressed, we are ready. We have makeup, we have hair, we have jewels. And I have a black blazer I'm wearing on top of this. I just have my ripped jeans and my pink Birks on, and we're just gonna go. We're gonna have a good time. I have my books ready for signing. Hopefully she'll sign all of them and I can remember to get a picture because I need to remember to get a picture. I do need to fix these because they are really irritating me now that I'm looking at them. They have like a weird bend and they're like looking that way. But yeah, so I'm just gonna chill for a little bit and eat some popcorn. I've just been like watching YouTube and hanging out. I haven't been in a terribly like readery mood. Also, I'm a little bitter because I could have ran a little further today if I had known that they were going to cancel and reschedule my appointment due to some other things with like results not fully being back and stuff. Like I was pulling into the driveway after my run this morning and they were like, hey, guess what? And I was like, great. Awesome. Anywho, I'm just going to keep watching some stuff. I did edit the Shop Your Shelves for May, so that's probably going to go out during this vlog because that's so behind. And I still have not filmed notable reads. Maybe I should do that now while I have makeup on. Oh, fantastic idea, Alyssa. I've had a super duper productive couple of days off. Tomorrow, Jesus will also be off, which will bring my productivity down. Because for some reason, I just don't get as much done when he's around. I don't know why. But it's the way it goes. I have a few minutes. I should go film that. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go film. Thanks for talking that out with me, folks. Okay, so I am pulling into the library. And if you don't know what Greenwich, Connecticut is like, think about the most like waspy, white collar, beautiful houses, all the secrets, town you could think of in a book, and that is Greenwich. Anyway, hold on, let me park. Anyway, so I'm driving here, and I'm driving through this town because I missed my exit, and so I had to like drive a little further on the country roads past the big estates, and they had signs up for Greenwich Cocktail Week. I have never seen anything waspier than a sign that says Greenwich Cocktail Week. I'm here with like 12 minutes to spare, which gives me time to go potty and find a seat. Really excited. This is the nicest library ever.
And like really lovely. But that 1% is something special. I wanted to write about these very surreal experiences that I've had, these interactions and conversations on the road. So I just started playing around with these friends.
Okay, we are back in my car. I did try to take a tiny bit of video. but they were like, don't take any video, and I don't know, the the ladies of Greenwich terrified me a little bit. I thought they might just be like, she's filming! So I didn't film much. I did try to get you at least a tiny little clip, but I have a bunch of notes from the thing just for concepts I want to look at while writing. Every time I see an author talk, it just makes me want to write and pick up some of my works that I've been just tootling around. I need to start Sea of Tranquility like ASAP, so I've been bothering Naomi about that because she needs to finish up. And I just love the idea that this is going to involve some sort of simulation hypothesis, or are we in a simulation? And like, I need that. Also, she said I have cool hair. And we made, she's like, all my bugs, and I'm a little bit fangirling and trying to keep it together. And I'm just very excited. I'm waiting for someone to walk by the car and be like, what's this crazy lady doing? This crazy lady is talking to her camera and being excited. But it was a beautiful talk. I loved what she had to say about the way that she writes is like, she doesn't spend a lot of time with her side characters. She has this velocity to her writing, which she really does, which is why her books are so like, they draw you in and just propel you through them, and I love it. But since what she can do is she can create these side characters with just enough development to make them interesting, so that then when she's going to write another book, she can almost be like creating her own multiverse, and she can develop that character fully in its own plot. And I absolutely love that, and I need to take that into like sitting down and looking at that fantasy novel I was writing and seeing like how I can sort of take that in the back burner and really maybe extrapolate that out into a series that's longer than I thought it would be, just based on following other characters within the thing. And it's not like that's a novel concept. It's just when you hear somebody saying it, you're like, you're right. I still got some book recommendations and some things I want to look up from her, and yeah, I'm just super excited. That was wonderful. What a wonderful way to spend the evening. Now I get to go home. Hopefully there's not a lot of traffic, and it's so good.
Caught behind Venetian blinds, out of reach for the city lights. This ain't where I belong. Hey, look at me, man, what I've become. I've been running east, looking for a sunset, digging deep since '99.
It's finally warming up to sit on the deck. Which means we need to clean it because it's filthy. Say hello.
It is filthy. I have to clean it up.
But it's a nice, ooh, that's your tail. That's a nice day. It's a nice day to sit outside. And I got to go for a run. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Do you like my song? Do you like when I sing you songs? Miss Mercy got her new collar. It says, "Bitch, please, I'm a unicorn." Cause she is. Do you think she likes it out here?
She might.
She might. Sorry, turn the cranberries off before I get a copyright strike. Oh, it's happy Thursday. Good morning. I just want to be back on the deck with the dogs and Jesus, but it is time to run. I don't know how this run's gonna go today, but we're gonna do it, and that's what matters. Because I am a little bit hungover because apparently I can't have a couple glasses of wine. Apparently that just turns me into like a silly drunk that thinks we can do aerial yoga together. Yeah, that was funny last night. Not that you guys get to see it. I was in a mood. I barely slept because Mercy keeps waking me up. And I feel like my asthma's in like a really shitty spot today. Like I've used all the inhalers, all the things, and I still feel like I can't breathe and I'm kind of hungry. So it's like the worst combo for starting a run, but I want to get it over with. And So I don't know. I'll have to make like an on-the-fly decision based on how I feel, whether I'm just going to do the 30 minutes for today's scheduled run, or if I'm going to do the hour where I run out and run back. We'll see. But yeah, I really enjoyed the event last night. I just keep thinking about it. I also keep thinking about the horrible picture that this very nice old man took of me and Emily St. John Mandel. It's terrible. It is almost wonderful in how terrible it is. I started The Sweetness of Water this morning because why not have 3 books going? Because that just seems like my normal spiel, shtick, whenever. So I started Sweetness of Water this morning. Good. I think I'm like 15% into it, like 75 pages, something like that. I'm still working on The Art of Losing, which I need to read a little bit more of today. And I read more of book 7 of The Expanse yesterday. I listened to it to and from the event, and I'm really loving what they're doing. I think I said something about this, but like, I'm really loving what they're doing. I think I'm stalled enough. I really feel like I'm gonna like throw up. Either I'm gonna feel better once I vomit or like whatever on this run, or I'm gonna have to like sort of bail and just go die. We're gonna get our 3 runs in, and that's what matters, because every day, what did I say? Every day I put feet to pavement. There are no bad runs. Everything that moves your body is good. I also need to go to the grocery store and the post office after this, so I can't kill myself too much because I need to be able to do both of those things. If nothing else, my ass is gonna walk for 30 fucking minutes, but get some movement today. I don't know that. Okay, cool down time. This is the fit. So I'm just gonna do the hour because I didn't throw up. But this is gonna be my slowest half-hour run portion of the week, I think. But that's not what matters. What matters is I came out here and I did it. I do kind of want to die though. I am liking the fit though. Thanks, Fabletics. Not that you gave it to me, I paid you for it, but Fabletics. Hi guys. I broke out my pillows and my blankie, and I was going to take a nap because I'm just so tired. Because I wanted to nap before our live, which is going to happen shortly. But the nap never happened because let's just say someone kept bothering me. No nap for me. I'm extremely exhausted. But you know, whatever. I'm gonna update you guys at the end of tomorrow, I guess, maybe, or maybe I'll run this through Saturday. I haven't decided yet, but I don't have a ton of reading updates for you guys, but I just kind of wanted to wrap up today because I have a feeling I'm going to do this live and then go to sleep. So I don't know if I had a productive day. I feel like I'm kind of walking in dreamland, but I am drinking seltzer out of a wine glass, pretending that I'm free and easy and having a good time, party. I read the graphic novel, The Girl from the Sea, and I absolutely loved it. I thought it was really sweet. I loved the whole idea of, I just love the way it dealt with our main character coming out and her accepting who she is and her friends accepting her and how lovely the parents were and the beauty of this like selkie relationship. And it was just wonderful and sweet and heartwarming and uplifting and all the things I don't normally read, and I absolutely loved it. And there's a little bit of like environmentalism in there too, so absolutely great. I'm gonna try to do some more of The Art of Losing before I do go to sleep tonight, and otherwise I'm just gonna do this live, try to get through it. I honestly like don't even know which way is up at this point. I put a tiny bit of makeup on so I don't look absolutely exhausted, and I just want to go to bed. I can't believe that I'm so sleepy and that I didn't get any sleep last night and that I'm gonna have to work for like 5 days, which to non-nurses sounds like what am I complaining about, but to a nurse it's a lot. I don't know. I'm curious about whether or not I could finish Persepolis Rising tomorrow. It'll be close, so that'll be my driving book tomorrow to and from work, and because I kind of want to read along with The Sweetness of Water, and it feels like that kind of book. And obviously I have to physically read The Art of Losing because there is no audiobook, so that's not getting read on my way to and from work. Delirious, the ice cream truck is coming by. Oh, I'm so dead. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Good morning, my little buttercups. I don't want to go to work. I don't want to work tomorrow or today. Also, happy Friday the 13th. I am a healthcare worker, so this should prove to be an interesting day. I'm eating my breakfast out of my own lap. I listened to a little bit more of The Sweetness of Water this morning. I've now gotten, like, the queer storyline is coming out, so that's good because I was wondering where that was going to come into play. I did read a little bit more of The Art of Losing as well, which is getting very interesting for me from, like, a historical context, because I'm like, damn, I do not know, like, anything about this time period and in like North Africa, and specifically Algeria. Definitely fascinating from that context. Really enjoying that piece. Which could just be a very personal thing because maybe you know a lot about that. Anyway, I'm gonna go to work. I'm gonna listen to Leviathan Wakes. Nope, I'm gonna listen to Persepolis Rising, which is The Expanse, not Leviathan Wakes. That's not the name of the freaking thing, Alyssa. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna go to work and pray that Friday the 13th isn't that bad. I will say that, so Jess Owens does this book community read, a nonfiction book club with I'm blanking on it, with this lovely human. They're reading 2 books sort of about the Ukraine, and one of them is The Gates of Europe. And I've been wanting to read at least that one with them because I can get that one on Hoopla. I can't get the second one. And last night, Jesus just comes down to the living room with a little book, sits on down, cracks it open, and it's The Gates of Europe. I'm like, where have you been hiding that? He's like, oh, I have it. Why? I'm like, because I want to read it this month. You just hiding books from me? These are the arguments we have at my house. You can listen to my Space Peoples. Go to work. This audiobook is going to expire in 3 days, so I need to. Hi guys, I realized I never filmed an outro for this vlog, so welcome to the outro. It is actually Sunday. I'm on call, and it's my 24-hour call day, so I've just been tootling around the house so that I'm available, and I've been actually rearranging a lot of the furniture and reading and doing all this stuff, and then I realized, oh poop, I haven't filmed this, so here we are filming it. So let's wrap up the week and let's say goodbye. I did have, I think, a fairly decent reading week. This week, I did finish Persepolis Rising. I did like this. It's not my favorite. I think book 6 was my favorite so far in the series, but I'm excited to see where it goes. I still really am enjoying the whole, like, watching these characters really grow, like, into retirement age, and, like, you know, a lot of the times I feel like your fantasy series, they're only over this very short period of time, unless they're like some epic multi-trilogy, like crazy interlocking within one world fantasy series. You usually just see like a snippet of their lives. So like this is kind of fun to see them kind of growing older and dealing with all of their interplanetary politics. And yeah, so I'm really excited to keep going with that. I will probably not read book 8 until June. Yep, that's the next month, June, because I still have so many books to read. If you didn't see my Shop My Shelves, my TBR planning for May, then you don't realize just how many books I'm attempting to read in May. It's too many. It's a lot. I need help. But I also finished The Sweetness of Water. I actually finished that today, so we can talk about it, by Nathan Harris. I think if I had never read The Prophets, I would have liked this book way more than I did. It's very good. There's nothing wrong with it. Like 3-4 stars, somewhere in that ballpark. But The Prophets is just like such a better book if you distill them into like their very basic fundamentals of like plot. The Prophets is like leagues ahead of it. So it was good. I would read another book by Nathan Harris, but you know, it wasn't the best. book that's dealt with, so essentially it's about this man, his wife, his son who's queer, and these two black men, these brothers, and their lives together just after the Civil War. So, slaves have been freed, and it's just this whole thing that happens between the son and this other wealthy landowner's son, and they have a relationship that's rather clandestine, and then some things come to pass, and the plot goes on. I don't really want to say anything because there's lots of stuff that just happens, but it doesn't have the same oomph as the Prophets, so it's really hard for me to read this after reading the Prophets, if that makes any sense. But it's good. I mean, read it if you would like it. I don't think there's anything. Obviously, I tabbed it. Like, I didn't hate it. It just, I don't know. It was flirting too much with, it was flirting with too many plot points that come up in the narrative of the Prophets and wasn't doing it like the Prophets did it. But we all know that I love it, the Prophets, with my whole heart. So it's really hard for anything that touches on those topics to, I don't know. I judge it very harshly now, I think. I'm still working on The Art of Losing by Alyssa. This is going to take me a while just because it's so hard for me to sit still right now. But it's getting better. It's very interesting. It's not that it's getting better. I'm getting more into it. I have no opinions, other than it's just very interesting at this point. So we'll see where it falls in the 6 books that I have to judge for this round of judging. But it's fine. I have no anything. I have zero. It's interesting. The other books that I finished this week, I finished 2 graphic novels. I read the first Spy Family manga. Abso-freaking-lutely loved it. Need to read more, and I think I have the second one on my Kindle right now, so I will get to that eventually. I forgot how much I just love reading a nice quick manga or a nice quick graphic novel. It just makes you feel like you've completed a task. Like, you get that nice hit of look, I finished something. And yeah, so, and also it's good. They're fun and enjoyable and quick, and Spy Family is really, really, really good time. And then I also finished The Girl from the Other Seat by Molly Knox Ostertag. I didn't say half these people's names, but I really like this graphic novel. I think it dealt with, I think I talked about this at some point when I finished it in this vlog. I really liked it. I like how it dealt with coming out and small towns and protecting our oceans and friendship, and it was just really sweet and uplifting, and sometimes even I need something that's sweet and uplifting. I did finish The Bone Orchard during this vlog, I believe. It was stunning cover. I'm not really sure. I don't know. I really enjoyed what the author was attempting to accomplish with this book. I enjoyed how they tried to work with hive mind and fragmented personalities in response to trauma and building this world, but I just felt like it needed more world building for me to not feel so lost, and they're kind of hard things to jam all into a story, so if it's not done perfectly, it's sort of missing. There's just something sort of missing, I guess is my point. It was okay. It's definitely not a book for almost anybody. I feel like there's a very specific reader that's going to love it, and you'll have to find that reader. I also finished The Membranes by Chi Ta Wei, and this was interesting. This is for that book prize that I am judging, so I can't say a lot, but it was definitely interesting, and I think if you enjoyed Clara on the Sun by Kazu Ishiguro, I think you might like The Membranes. They deal with similar topics in different ways. The writing isn't the same, but the plot's kind of got some things that that cross over. So if you like that kind of sci-fi, literary sci-fi, you might enjoy The Membranes. I thought it was pretty darn good. And then obviously I did finish How to Change Your Mind by Michael Pollan. Loved that. I gave it to Jesus. I was like, you have to read this. I keep thinking about it all the time because I'm like, wait, can mushrooms fix that? I don't know. I'm so curious about this research because I don't know. It's just, I'm fascinated by the whole use of psilocybin, or however you say it. I can't say big words, to treat things. especially like mental health disorders and trauma and terminal illness and like things that are just more existential, you know? Like, it's not like your valve in your heart broke and we're going to fix your valve. Like, it's more complicated. And is there just something that's been growing on this planet forever that could actually ease mental anguish? That would be so cool. And then, of course, I did finish On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous by Ocean Vuong. Right in the beginning of this vlog, I talked about this. Absolutely adore this book. All the feels. And I think that catches me up to the week before, or I may cross over with On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous. I'm not quite sure exactly when I finished it. But yeah, I'm just going to keep talking about this book. So I probably already talked about this, but it's good. It's fantastic. I loved it. I love it so much. Everybody needs to read it. It's sitting up there somewhere. You can't really see it. It's just out. Oh no, you can just see it. It's like just there. I think all in all, we had a good reading week. I also am going to start Lolita tonight, maybe, before I go to bed. This was from our Smash or Pass episode of TBR Lowdown, and it's, I think, the first book I'm reading off of that TBR, so I'm curious. I have lots of thoughts about this, like preconceived notions, so I have no idea. I don't know. I feel like I'm going to keep thinking of my Dark Vanessa the entire time I'm reading this, and that teacher, and how obsessed he was with Lolita, and yeah. But I'm going to do it. I'm going to read it. And then I'm flirting with the idea of starting a separate vlog just for this lovely Mindfuck series by St. Abby. Good old Stabby. But I have to see if I'm in the mood to physically read this, because I'm also physically reading the other book. And like I said, this book, and it's very hard for me to stop and sit down and just read. At least right now, with all the stuff that's going on. But otherwise, yeah, that's the week. If you enjoy, you know, spending time with me in my bookish life, please consider subscribing, like, comment, all that jazz. Otherwise, I'll see you guys in my next video, whatever it may be, because it's my channel and I can do whatever I want. Bye.
So just sit with me, talking to the night until the morning, building chemistry. I don't think I ever wanna go come closer next to me, trying to find another way to say